Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, I had a voice of radio. So today, we're going to be talking about Alolan Golem. Now, Golem was one of my three favourite of the original 151 Pokemon. Porygon, Snorlax, Golem, best rank in the original 151. Come at me in the comments, bro. Whereas Alolan Golem, I don't know. There's just something about it. I can never love him like I loved original Golem. But I do like this card very much indeed. Our translation comes from the lovely David Hochmann over at limitlesstcg.com/translations. And the first thing to note that the HP here is exceptionally high. The highest HP we've got on a non-GX Stage 2 at the moment is my boy Mamoswine. And this actually matches it at 180, which is more than the 160 the last Alolan Golem had. This is a noteworthy amount of HP. Similarly, the retreat cost of 4 means you get access to Brawny Pad, which will give you an extra 50 HP, which means that you actually get 230 HP. That is ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. Utterly, ludicrously ridiculous for a non-GX Pokemon. That is over the top. That is more than non-GX Wailord. Although, to be fair, non-GX Wailord can also use Brawny Pads, and then it would go up to 270, but shh, it's still a lot of HP. Weakness to fighting, obviously not ideal, because Buzzwole will still get a one-hit KO when you're down to 4 prizes, even with the Brawny Pads. And being a lightning Pokemon is great. You've got Electro Power to do a little bit of extra damage. You've got Thunder Mountain, which means that you can reduce the attack cost of your attacks by a single lightning energy. You're not hitting much for weakness, but even so, that's still pretty gosh darn awesome. But it's the attacks we're really worried about here, although again, we've taken a bit longer than we have recently on the HP, because seriously, it is noteworthy. Combined with the lightning tricks, it's awesome. The basics here we like, although it is a stage 2. First attack, 0 energy. Move as many lightning energy from your bench Pokemon as you like to this Pokemon. This attack does 20 damage times the number of cards moved in this way. Oh, this is a sneaky attack. This is awkward, ladies and gentlemen. This is a proper, how lucky, how gambly do you feel? Because actually, if you've got 10 lightning energy on the field, you can move them all over and you do 200 damage for 0 energy. Although I say for 0 energy, it's not like Alolan Vulpix where you can have no energy on the field and still use it. You've got to have the energy on the field. So it's a bit of a misnomer, but even so, that's a lot of damage. Problem is, you've then got all 10 energy sitting on Alolan Golem. Incidentally, at which point even a Tapu Lele with a double colourless energy will be able to take you out, because they'll then be doing 240, because there'll be 12 energy total. So actually, alright, that's maybe a little too much, but even so, this can work very nicely. I mean, as a game-ending attack, as an I win the game now attack, this is phenomenal. Because it doesn't matter how much energy is on you or how vulnerable you are when you're taking your last prize, 2 prizes, heck, maybe even 3 prizes when you think about Tag Team GXs. I'm looking at you, Mimikyu and Gengar tagged. Nah, let's use Latios and Latias. Baby Daisy Spirit Pokemon. Yay! Just as an example. They give up 3 prizes. If you've taken 3 prizes, you move all the energy over, and then you're pretty good at this stage. The problem is, if your opponent then gets a KO, you lose all of your energy. That is the big worry with Alolan Golem. That and the fact that it's a stage 2, although remember that since Alolan Ninetales came out, stage 2s are viable again. We can use stage 2s just like we always have. No, that's a lie. Better than we have for years. I mean, really, the last time stage 2s were this ubiquitous, and the last time we could really take a 101 stage 2 line in was when every single deck had Claydol and Yuxi. That really was the last time stage 2s were being chucked in as 101 lines, and now they are again, because of Alolan Ninetales. So that helps with that. Although you may want to consider using someone like an Ace Roller to get it off the field, given that you don't want a 2-prize liability sitting on your bench. But anyway, back to Alolan Golem. It's a huge attack that can do a huge amount of damage, and we can get a lot of energy on the field here quite quickly. One of the obvious answers at this stage should, for most of you, be Naganadel. Naganadel is that phenomenal stage 1 that's seeing play with a whole bunch of different Pokemon, which, once during your turn, you may move any basic energy from the discard pile onto Naganadel. So if you've got 2 or 3 Naganadel, that gives you 2 or 3 energy per turn. Having said that, if you're having to rejig Alolan Golem every turn, 3 energy is 60 damage. Now, even if you've got 3 Naganadel out and you attach from your hand, that's still only 80 damage. Now, 80 damage for 0 energy is good, but it's also 80 damage for your only attack for the turn on a stage 2 Pokemon. We would potentially want a little bit more. I really do think that with cards like Naganadel, you can build this up nicely. But I also really do think that you need to keep Alolan Golem on the field for a few turns. I think if you can keep it on the field for a few turns, you can really make the most of this. Ideally, what you want is to be attacking with something else, maybe even just a Tapu Koko using Flying Flip, build a board full of energy, and then Alolan Golem smashes while moving the energy, and then another Alolan Golem. And as soon as you've got the first one, you can switch between them. First Alolan Golem goes in the active, moves 10 energy over, does 200. And then another Alolan Golem goes up and does 200. Then another Alolan Golem, or indeed the first one again, goes up and does 200. If you can get the energy out and keep switching between them, this is really good. But if your opponent can be knocking out Alolan Golem, this falls apart. The fact that you've got 180 HP and can use Brawny Pads is great, but there's always stuff like Blacephalon out there that's just kind of like, I can still KO you. Although, to be fair, if Blacephalon has to actually use 5 energy to KO you, they could well run out of energy before they win the game. Now, you'll probably have some smaller Pokemon, but if you can actually get like 4 Alolan Golem with Brawny Pads on, that's 20 energy lost zoned, your opponent can't win the game. I don't think that's very likely. They can pick some little Pokemon off the bench, but it is something to consider. And also, before we move on to the second attack here, I do need to have a quick mention of Tapu Koko, the Prism Star. When it's on your bench, you can put it in the lost zone and then attach 2 lightning energy, 1 to each of 2 benched Pokemon. I mean, it's a easy one-of in like every lightning deck ever after it gets released. Seriously, every lightning deck without exception. But you know, that's just standard. As for the second attack here, it's a bit less flashy and unique and interesting, but it might be better. Now, it is for 5 energy, but it does a flat 190 damage. You then discard 2 energy. Now, maybe you use the first attack to move the energy over, and then you use Super Zap Cannon next turn. Again, that's if you survive, which you've got a lot of HP. You should against anything that isn't a fighting deck. Fighting decks will destroy you, but other than that, you should be okay. But you could also use just double colorless energy here. And this would add up quite quickly. So what you could do here is, for instance, use your Tapu Koko to put an energy on there, and then attach a double colorless. Next turn, attach another double colorless, and you're off and rolling. And what's kind of cool about this, you only need 1 lightning energy on there. I mean, look, we've got the Magnezone that lets you attach as much lightning energy during your turn as you like, but that's 2 stage 2s, and you know my rule by this stage. If you got 2 stage 2s, one of them better have a draw engine. Neither of these do, so I'm not taking that combo seriously. And in terms of damage, this is great. 190 means instantly you're getting everything from Buzzwole GX on down. And then if you add a Choice Band on, you're up to 220, so all your Zoroarks and stuff are going down. And even against something like a Gardevoir, yes, you're 10 damage short, but unless you've got a Thunder Mountain in play, you're probably going Shrine of Punishment here. And that is the other thing to bear in mind. If you can actually use Thunder Mountain, this attack does come down to just 4 colorless energy, or 2 double colorless, which is kind of cool. It means you can move 4 energy over using the first attack, then drop a Thunder Mountain, and you've already got the requisite energy to attack with this. It is a really good Pokemon, with really good attacks that can do a whole bunch of damage. But it is a stage 2 that needs a lot of energy. And that's the big worry with Alolan Golem. Yeah, it looks fun with Naganadel, but is it a better deck than Blacephalon Naganadel? Is it a better deck than Rayquaza Naganadel? Is it a better deck than Naganadel with Quagsire and Suicune? Maybe. And the fact that you're using non-GXs, the fact that you've got so much HP really does help. But the fact that you are a stage 2 really does hinder. It is an expensive and potentially slow Pokemon, but if you can get this up and rolling, it does absolutely have the potential to be phenomenal. Alrighty then. Let's give him a score, let's say between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would of course be barbaric. A very interesting Pokemon with potential that might end up being a little bit too slow. But now I want to hear what you think about Alolan Golem, so do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And do make sure you're checking out my other channel, Wassie Plays, for some more Wassie action. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.